Hello, my name's David Webb and this is a video for Dweebovision. In this video I want to analyse some of the moves from Dweebovision 223. This was the completed board and the first move I'd like to look at is my opening move. This was my rack, 6 vowels and 1 consonant. These are the choices and my move, UUI, comes out top from the static analyzer. But during the game time, I was considering whether or not to change, and as you can see here, a number of changes are present in the list of moves. I'm just going to change the simulation to 2 plies and start running it. And that's 500 iterations, and UUI was the best play, and the second best play was an exchange of 4 tiles. Now, UUI has an equity value of 2.2 more than exchanging. That's the difference between 10.3 and 8.1. And I'd like to take this opportunity of explaining that score and rack leave applies when comparing regular moves as well as when one of those moves is an exchange of tiles. Now, in this instance, when you're exchanging tiles, your score is 0 and your rack leave are the tiles that you don't change. So here, with this move, we have a score of 0 and a rack leave of AEL, whereas my play has a score of 10 and a rack leave of L0. So UUI scores 10 more points than the exchange, but the move overall is only 2 points better. So it gives up 8 points in rack leave, which means that the rack leave after exchanging is 8 points better than LO. Now, I'm not sure that this is quite as much as that, but the E is a really bingo-y tile, so is the A, and the L is quite bingo-y, and together they have synergy. Now, the E's worth about 3 or 4 points and the A's 1, so that takes you up to 4. The L might be worth half a point or so, so you're up to 4.5 or 5 points, and then the synergy will bump that up a bit as well. So that accounts for the vast majority of the 8-point difference. So in this instance, score and rack leave does account for the equity differential between UUI and exchanging. While we're on this move though, I think it's interesting to note that the exchange of EOOU outperformed the exchange of all tiles, the exchange of 6 tiles keeping the E, and the exchange of 5 tiles keeping EL. And I think a lot of players shy away from keeping vowel-heavy rack leaves, because if you have a vowel-heavy rack as a whole, it can be pretty unbingo-y, and a lot of your attention is focused on sorting out that excess of vowels. So by changing tiles and keeping a vowel excess, that doesn't feel like the best thing to do. And it can feel like you're inviting trouble by drawing many vowels. And on the occasions when you do draw lots of vowels, that can reinforce the idea that you did the wrong thing by keeping an excess of vowels. But this is exactly the sort of position where you should keep an excess of vowels. A's and E's are really bingo-y tiles, and they have synergy together. And the L is a bingo-y consonant. So here you're keeping 3 bingo-y tiles, and that means you're drawing only 4 random tiles. And a random tile is a non-bingo-y tile. So it's better to draw a smaller number of random tiles if the tiles that you've got in your rack leave are bingo-y. So that accounts for why AEL is a better rack leave than E or EL. So I think that's enough for that move. The next one I wanted to look at was the key play. Now here, this was my rack, AEGNOQY, and I think the choices I was considering was the move I played, which was key, and Jaeger and Geyer up here were also moves I was considering, but I didn't like the rack leave of QON, so I played key. Let's run the simulation, or let me run it. Right, that's the 500 iterations, and you can see here that gnome in column I comes out as best. with Gaia in this column about the same. And my play of Key is a few points behind. It's three and a bit points behind Gnome and Gaia. So what is going on here? Let's look at the Gaia play, because that's the one I considered in game time. It scores 3 fewer points than Key, but from an equity point of view, it comes out as 3.5 points better. So is the rack leave after Gaia 6 points better than the rack leave after Key? And I don't think it is. I think the rack leaves are quite similar. The only difference is that the rack leave after Key has got an extra A and a G. Well, the A helps the Q, but the G is non-synergetic, so that's pretty much a wash. So what's going on? Why is Gaia 6 points better than Key if it scores 3 fewer points? And the rack leaves are similar. Well, I think the answer is look at where Gaia plays. It plays in column A, and that is taking out 2 really good bingo lanes in columns A and B, and in particular column A is available for a 9 timer. So I think Gaia derives some of its benefit by taking out those hotspots, and certainly with triple word squares you don't need to bingo to get good scores off them. I think the other reason Gaia is better than Key is that you're turning over 4 tiles rather than 2. And if you're retaining the Q, what you're really looking for is to draw the tiles that enable you to get rid of it. And in particular, here you're looking to draw an I to be able to play Chi or Chin. So by playing off 4 tiles rather than 2, you're doubling your chances of drawing that all-important I. So that's why Gaia ends up being slightly better than Key, but 3 points isn't that much of a big deal. Gnome, I haven't really considered. This is a strange play. I think some of its value derives from the fact that G takes an A in front, and by playing Gnome you are retaining an A. But it's a strange play. It's blocking the U of Yumu, which does have some value for the Q. But again, you have the advantage that you're turning over 4 tiles and you're retaining a scoring tile in the Y. But I think it's easier to compare Gaia and Key. Gnome looks quite a deep play. There's very little difference between these 3 plays, and difference of 3 points isn't anything to get excited about. Now, the final move I wanted to look at was my play of Delft. This was the board at the time. I had 7 consonants, including the Q, and my thoughts during the game were to change tiles, keeping the F because of the amazing front hook for locks. Even a 4-letter play with the F above locks is going to score over 50 points. So it's a massive, massive hotspot for the F. There is only one F. I have it on my rack. So with 7 consonants, it was quite an attractive prospect to exchange tiles and retain the F or the F and the S. Now at this point, I was about 60 points ahead, so I also saw merit in scoring, and Delft scored 22 points, and the rack leave of QNS was quite good. If I draw an I, there are several places to play Chin. So I opted to play Delft. I liked the idea of keeping the score going. I didn't like the idea of getting no points at all. So let me run the simulation. Well, let me generate the choices first. There's my Delft play. Let me just see if all the changes are in here that I want. Right, I don't think they are. So let me just modify this one so that I keep the F and jettison the T. I don't think this static evaluator is giving proper credit to the hotness of the F. So this is retaining FS, and let me just include jettisoning the S as well, keeping just the F to maximize my chances of drawing a vowel. So I think that's all the moves I want to consider. Let me run the simulation. And that's 500 iterations. My play of Delph comes in 4th position, and one of the changes was better. So let me deal with this comparison first, since this was the comparison I contemplated in game time. Exchanging 5 tiles, keeping the F and the S, is fractionally more winning. The difference between 92.83 and 92.58 is pretty tiny, 0.25, so 1 game in 400. But the equity valuation is quite significant. It's 6.7 points, so nearly 7 points of differential, and that really reflects how hot that F spot is. The whole reason why the exchange is performing well in this simulation is because of the ability to utilize that F spot in front of locks. And also what's good about the change is you're getting rid of the Q, which is a problem tile. Now, interestingly, that was the comparison I made, but neither of these moves were the best. Look at the best move, Dons, down here. Now, what's good about this is that it scores, so it's got that attribute of Delft, which I was looking for, which was to maintain the bingo's difference between my opponent and my score. So Don scores 27, but what it also does is retain the F. Okay, it's retaining the Q, but the F is really hot, and all I need is one vowel, and I've got flat or felt or flit, and well, there's a good chance that in drawing 3 tiles that I will draw a vowel. And I think the other meritorious aspect of Dons is that it is blocking the bingo lane column O for bingos ending in T. This board does not have many bingo lanes. It's pretty much only got rows 7 and 9, which are face value bingos, and column 0, which is a triple word bingo lane. So Don's blocking that does have some strategic merit, but I think it's probably score and the hotness of the F rack leave keep which is driving this play to the top of the pile. I didn't see this move in game time. I hope if I had seen it I would have recognized its merits, but it's interesting to see that it came top. Now, the other point I wanted to make about changing, or about using Quackle in general, is that this change, keeping FS, was not in the original list. It had to be added. So when you are analysing your moves, look down the list of candidate moves generated by Quackle, and feel free to add any additional moves which you think are worthy moves, or just simply moves that you want to see how they compare to the moves that are being suggested by the program. In this instance, the exchange keeping just the FS performed very well and was the best of the changes, so it was definitely worthwhile adding it. So those are 3 positions from the game earlier on this week. I hope you found that analysis interesting. My name is David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.